Hey, there we go. Welcome back. My name is Jeff Fritz, and this is my live stream. We're gonna write a little bit of code today. Today is what day is today? Where's my watch? What day? I can't even see the time. It's Friday. Yeah, it's Friday what? Friday, May 17th. That's what it is. Welcome back. It's Friday, May 17th, 2019. My name is Jeff Fritz. I'm a program manager at Microsoft. We're gonna write a little bit of code, but it's May. And every May, we write code on a Mac. And we're going to start a new project today. I want to get into do something a little bit different. We've been working on Twitch and streamer-focused things here for a little bit. I want to get back into something that's a little bit more real. Something that doesn't run on stream, for the stream, around a stream, for a bot, around chat. Something like that. I want to do something that's a little bit more realistic. Something that actually is going to benefit a local charity, a local organization. And I'll talk about that project in just a little bit. Oh my gosh, look at this. SMB, thanks so much for the sub. 13 months. And it didn't read the what's it called? Darn it. When in doubt, ask yourself what Jeff would do. Yes, Mike Eaton. Look at that, Mike Eaton. 10 months. 10 months with Mike Eaton? Are you kidding me? That's pretty cool. Thank you so much. That was also pretty loud. My apologies. Yeah, woohoo is right. Oh my gosh. So, Hugo with the resub. When in doubt, put a hat on it. I agree. Absolutely. So this is, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to stream on Sunday morning. We have to figure that one out. But this is probably going to be my last stream here for a couple days. Turrican also. Oh my gosh, 6 months with Turrican. That puts Turrican into the blue hat now. Just like our friend Mike Eaton and Lannon and my gosh, Jurgen's out there. I didn't say hello to everybody in the chat room yet. Quality Coders here. Hello. Another sub, Rambling Geek with it. Oh my goodness. Jurgen, Daniel Silva's here. Hello. Nah, we might get into IoT. I've got some ideas for IoT around this project. This project we're going to get into has several different tentacles and things that we could spider into and have a lot of fun with. And it might play very well into AI July or July OT, depending on which way we go here. But love the streaks. Very cool stuff. Hey, Adam. Good to see you. The real Dan Vega. It is Friday. Absolutely. And I'm wearing my Phillies hat today. Phillies weren't on too good a streak this week. Got whooped 3 out of 4 by those Milwaukee Brewers. They're still number 1 in the East Division. We'll see if they can hold up. I forget who they're playing this weekend. We'll see. Happy Friday, Ancient Coder. Good to see you. Let me get some music playing in the background here. We'll get into our project and we'll talk a little bit about what this is, get some things set up, and start building towards the first set of requirements that are being defined for us. So today I think, eeny, meeny, miny, let's play Gold. This is music to code by from our friend, Mr. Carl Franklin. You can check this out. You can get access to all the great songs just like this that are designed to get you in the groove, to get you focused on whatever task it is that you might be working on. Check them out at musictoflowby.com for the app, or you can buy all 19 songs at mtcb.pwop.com. There's Frank. Hey, Frank, good to see you. Mention it hasn't been a standard stream in a while. Congrats on the Phillies and Gritty on snagging. No, it's not the Phillies, it's the Flyers. But yes, Alain Vigneault is the new coach of the Flyers. Link in chat. If you do a exclamation point music, you'll get a link to the music that you can download. But this song was originally called Gold. You can buy the entire collection and check it out. Right? Nobody's going to put the link in chat? Fine, I will do it. There you go. Thank you, Adam. There's a link to go buy the music. You can buy them individually. You can buy the whole pack for, I think it's $40. Really great stuff. And you can also buy a license if you want to stream on your own Twitch stream. So make sure you check that out if that's something that you're interested in. Let's talk about some of our goals that we've been doing here. Here we go. Look at, if we get to 8,000 followers before September 15th, so we've got, what is that, about 4 months, 4.5 months? No, 4 months. To get to 8,000. That's just, 1,612 new followers. Before then, I will dye this beard rainbow for the entire duration of TwitchCon. In fact, if we can get there before September 1st, I'll even do it for .NET Conf also. All right? Svava is here. What mischief? Oh, wait till you see the mischief that we're going to get into today.
Totes, my goats.
Totes. Why not over 9,000? Good question, Adam. I go to a website called socialblade.com. Let's see if I can go over to my browser here. Open a new tab. So if you go to socialblade.com, we'll pull down this chalupa, go over to Twitch, type in C# Fritz. I want to make it something somewhat realistic. And if I go to future projections here, scroll down a little bit, 9,000, it's saying we're not going to get to until January. It's saying we're going to get to about 7,900 at our current rate by September 17th. So we need to pick up. We need to get some new followers in here. We need to recruit new folks to join us here, new friends. So I wanted to make it a little bit realistic, so that's about right there. Pull down this chalupa. Not a phrase you've heard, but you like it. I got a thing for Taco Bell. I don't eat at Taco Bell as much recently, but the Taco Bell's definitely a thing that I reference a bit here. What's going on down here? Oh, fantastic. Okay, good. All right, we did some things. So Sunday we did our charity stream with Fierce Kittens, and that was tremendous. We had so much fun with that. I want to make sure you know that I am going to be heading over to the. I'm hoping to, if I should make it over, to the embroidery shop to get those hats made that we are giving away, so I can send them out. If not, it'll be the end of next week, but they will definitely get out before the end of the month. We'll be sure to have those 5 hats sent out to our donors. I absolutely want to make sure that they get they get that gift for their donation. But we were on with Fierce Kittens, and last night she ran a stream, and it was amazing. My gosh, she was dressed as a Viking the entire evening, and she made a commitment that if they hit a certain goal during that stream, she'd offered to do another stream with me, and they hit that goal. So we're going to have Fierce Kittens back on in the next few weeks, and we will set up for more hijinks. But we need to get Robert Tables, Michael Jolly, I Am Not Myself, in to have their streams, and it's going to be tremendous with them. Question, may I ask what you use to effectively green screen with no green screen? Oh no, I have a green screen. There's a green screen there. There absolutely is a green screen, Adam. Check this out. Ready? Watch this. Watch this. Musical Bookworm, thank you so much for the resub. 2 months in a row. That is phenomenal. Thank you so much for your support. And for all those subs, we're going to make donations to Veterans Who Code. Yeah, I'm on a green screen here. Check it out. I'm on a green screen. Timus, is that Timus? Thank you so much for that sub. I appreciate you joining us, and we'll make a donation to Veterans Who Code. And for those of you that are interested in helping out with the St. Jude Play Live, while I myself am not running a fundraiser, there's the link in chat for Fierce Kittens fundraiser if you want to help out. They always appreciate the help that you can give to St. Jude, helping kids that have some really tragic diseases. The illusion is shattered. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm not really coding from the Matrix. I thought it looks cool back there, very developer-y. Is that a word, developer-y? I'll run with it. I think that works. Kazru will never know if that was a real green screen. It's a fake one. Picked up this bot shirt at Ignite last year. Well, different bot. But yeah, developer-ish, says Surly Dev. I like it. Let's go with that one. So I wanted to pivot away from bots a little bit because we've been doing that for a while, and I know it gets a little bit boring. So I had started down this concept, and I brought it up a while ago for working on a, let me see if is it still here? Cheer Graffiti Resource Management. The idea here is there's an organization near me called Sebastian Riding Associates. No, I didn't want to edit that. I just wanted to highlight. Thank you. What they do is they manage a series of volunteers to teach handicapped kids, to teach folks that need a little equine therapy. Riding horses, getting focused and pairing with an animal does a lot to relax the mind and help handicapped kids, help folks who have been through tragedies to recover and focus on things that get them away from whatever challenges they might be facing. It's a tremendous organization, but they've got a real challenge around managing their volunteers that come in to help out with leading horses, cleaning up, it's a ranch. They need to take care of the facility a little bit. So as they recruit volunteers, they need to be qualified. They have different skills that they need to manage. And we need to make sure that they're qualified and scheduled appropriately, and they have a way to say, oh, you know what, I'm not going to be able to work today. And that's the kind of things that, oh no, that's the kind of thing that we can build effectively here on stream. Now I know there's a couple of open systems out there that folks have built that manage this for different organizations and for things. But I thought we could spend some time learning about different ways to integrate, different ways to do some very interesting algorithms. We can integrate with some notification systems. We can build something that goes into a container that other folks can deploy to customize for their organization. And we'll learn a little bit about security, notifications, continuous integration, and deploy some really neat things here. Let me come back over here to the chat room. Fairy Wing says, you linked to Sohala, not the garden? I thought you wubbed me. Sorry, Fairy. We'll work on that. So Fairy Wings and Fierce Kittens are having a little bit of they're having a little bit of a competition here. Friendly competition. They're both competing to raise money for the kids. It's really nice. Good morning, Michael Jolly and Matthew Groves. Good to see you. Our question from Master Froze. Am I already using Blazor in projects? We're going to do that today. We're going to use it a little bit extensively here. Let's see here. You see shiny new headphones. Same headphones. These are my Skull Candy Hesh 2s that I've been using for a while. Not only are they wired, but when I fly on a plane, I pull the wire out and they're wireless. I can use them with my phone, with my laptop. Really great stuff. I love having the versatility of these versus I used to use Beats headphones. Not a fan of the Beats. Incredibly expensive, and the quality, they literally fell apart on stream for me. It was like, sorry, I'm not going to keep using that. I have a real quality concern with Beats headphones. You don't have timesheets where you work currently. Right. That could be an extension that we go into with this as well. So yes, we're going to get into a little bit of Blazor. Missed the name of these what? These what? These are Skull Candy Hesh 2. Those are the headphones that I use. Wired because of the lag or just to save power when streaming? Well, I don't have Bluetooth into my mixer. So my mixer I'm wired into. I go from 1/8 inch into 1/4 inch connector. Right. So I have a 1/4 inch connector from my headphones into my mixing deck. I can't hear you right now. There we go. Now we're back online. So that's a little bit of how I get that configured. Beats sound okay, but bad, terrible with noise cancellation. Yes, I agree. I completely agree. All right, let's get over here to the code. There it is, right above me. All right. So What's the pull request sitting at here? I didn't think. Update a README from Hugo. What's in the README? My gosh, I haven't touched this. I started talking about this and I just didn't get into it. Oh, it's a link. That's fine. I don't need to review that. Just merge it. Do the merge. All right. So what I want to do is I want to just new up a project so I have some place to start. Set up continuous integration so that I have something building so it's out there and it'll build for me. And then get into some of the requirements and start talking that through. Start making something happen there. Brocco's here. Blazor, you know another web technology that I could use? I know you do. I'm a big fan of Angular, but Blazor's definitely something that we want to learn right now. It's new, it's fresh. Folks have questions about it. There might be places where we can use Angular throughout here. Not a problem. Hey, Sanad Meskin, good to see you. All right. So, I have Tmux running here. I'm, of course, on a Mac because it's May is for Macs. There you go. See, I'm on a Mac. And I want to have two of these running. Video freezing for anyone else? I haven't dropped any frames. It's not me. It might be Twitch. It does look like Pong, a little bit. We're gonna spend our time with Blazor server side, and maybe we'll convert to some client side stuff later. All right, so let me just double check my version. I'm nearly positive I'm on the. Yep, I'm on Preview 5. So this is .NET Core 3.0 Preview 5. Of course, I want to use the preview versions here so that we can share and learn all the cool new things that are going on. Take advantage of C# 8. Take advantage of all the latest features as they're being released. Welsh Ronaldo, hello. Brian Lagunas, oh my goodness. You know what? I gotta do a couple things here. There's Sinclairinator, of course. He was one of our dev MCs at Build last week. And Matthew Groves, yeah, Tagaron, fantastic. All right, let me get in here. Let's start off defining a little bit about this project. So I'm going to make a directory. I'm going to call the project in general. I don't want to call it just resource management. I like putting my name on things. You know what I'm saying? So and it's MKDIR. Spell my name right. Fritz dots. Yeah, we'll call this resource management. Like that. And I think I want to have a source folder because I'll end up having other things for documentation and that kind of thing next to it. So I'll go down into source. And let's start a new project. Let's look at our templates. Yeah. Show me the templates. Let's see here. I think scrolling up here, and it's weird scrolling up like that. Blazor server side is, I think, where I want to start because I'm going to have a web front end for this, and we're going to manage resources. So I'm also going to want to have a .NET standard library that has some of my domain objects, and I'm not going to delve down into event sourcing or actor model right off the bat. I want to start with the minimum viable that is something that we can use without a lot of architecture ceremony. Get something running, get something into the charity's hands that'll manage their volunteers, and then we can introduce an architecture later that will allow us to take steps into doing that next generation of things. Question from Sanad Meskin. What's my opinion about interface default implementation? Is that something that will end as default constructor? I think it's a great thing. I think it's another option. It's another feature that you can use in the development of your application that gives you the flexibility to choose how you want your application to be built. I think it's a great opportunity for us to take interfaces to the next level, to take polymorphic objects and start to make some interesting things happen there. What I worry about, though, is a little bit of code spaghetti around that. That's my only concern with that. Uncle Bill Druin is here. Hello, hello. And Zovek, good morning. Good to see you. So let's start off by I'm going to create a server-side Blazor project. It is Blazor server-side is the name of that template. So I'll say .NET new. I'll give it the name of it, Blazor server-side, and I'll specify an output folder. My output folder will be fritz.resourcemanagement.web. It's going to create that project. And the .NET command line is going to start immediately restoring. There it goes. It's going to restore all the packages that I need. I'm going to create a solution file here as well, because I'm going to start introducing more projects here. So .NET new SLN, and it'll just create a solution file right here for me in the folder. All right. Let's add to the solution file. So .NET, what is it? .NET add? Is that the one I want to use? No. .NET SLN, I think it's add, and then the name of the project. Can I just do that? Will it find the project file in there? Cool. All right, so now when I hand this over to folks that are using Visual Studio, full Visual Studio, whether it's Visual Studio for Mac or Visual Studio 2019, they'll be able to open that solution file and get all the projects coming out of there for them, right? That's kind of a good thing. I like to think of that as being a good developer citizen, so that I'm sharing those files appropriately in a format that other folks can use, not just me on a Mac using my favorite text editor. Timecard punch in and punch out via Stream Deck. That's not bad either. You worried that the contract implied by an interface will no longer be known completely? Yes, Brian. That's a very good point. And we're going to need to teach people about it. No, it's not a Pascal hat, Janescu. This is my Philadelphia Phillies. Major League Baseball here in the United States and Canada. See that, Carrie? I didn't forget Canada. I'm thinking. Scotty73. Thanks so much for that kind cheer. And we'll make a donation to Veterans Who Code for all of our cheers, all of our subs. Is my voice too quiet? I can adjust here a little. How's that? Is that better? You came from voting. Cool. Good job search counseling call. Best of luck to you, President Not Sure. Best of luck to you. Always want to see folks get new jobs, advance their careers in cool new ways. I'm going to create a .NET standard class library to go with this, so I have someplace to put all my domain objects that we're going to share and use across this. Let's put a more after that so I can see the complete list. No. Maybe we'll do some WPF in the future, so we have a WPF application to go with this project. That might be good. I'm looking for that .NET standard library. Where is it? Class lib. I think I can do class lib, right? .NET new. I want to specify the framework with that, right? So let's pass .NET new help. I want to specify the class library. You make me sad. I want to specify the target framework. Help list name, output install, NuGet source type. Yeah. Language. I want to specify. You make me sad. Fine. .NET new class lib. And let's put this into Fritz resource management domain. We'll put our domain objects in there that we're going to share across these various things. And I'm not going to adhere to strict DDD concerns. We're going to just have these objects out there. For the most part, they'll be POCOs, plain old class objects that we'll pass around so we can do some really neat things there. Good morning, JAF 1021. It's so good to see you. Of course, JAF 1021. That is Mama C# Fritz. Totes my boats. XAML is godlike. I need to learn more XAML. And I'm encouraged that our friend Brian's here. Because at some point, yeah, I need to do like XAML for web folks. Because I need help with that. Let's add to the solution file this new domain. So Fritz Resource Management domain. So that'll add that to the solution file. Fantastic. All right. I'm going to jump over to the other side here, and I'm going to tell it to watch the build for the web application. So let's go down into that resource management folder, into source, Fritz Resource Management for the web, because the web is the first application I'm going to start building here. So I want it to watch and build that as it's changing. So I'm going to run .NET watch build. .NET watch, of course, will watch the files for the project, and as they change, it'll execute whatever the next verb is after that. So in this case, build. And it'll sit there and do the things for me here. So XAML's pretty straightforward in your opinion, having come from web to that. Terrific. I need to spend some time with that. Sinclair Nader asks, what are the specs for my Mac? This is a MacBook Air from 2015. So it's an older one that I use and I've had a great time with. Could you .NET watch multiple verbs? You know what? I don't know. Let's check. .NET watch help. Let's see what it says. .NET use polling file watcher when set to 1 or true. .NET watch will poll the file system for changes, blah, blah, blah. .NET watch set this variable to 1 for all null child processes. .NET watch iteration, blah, 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 blah. The special option is used to delimit. I think you can only pass one verb at a time. Let's pass some more here and see if there's anything we missed. No. Now you specify one project to watch. So, good question. And there's a little bit they want to do with this to make it better, to make it restart a little bit faster. Because right now what it'll do is it'll cancel and then it'll stop the process and then restart it. So, just finished the Finnish Parliament vote and now EU elections. Oh, good luck. Oh my goodness. Since WPF was mentioned, what MVVM framework library are people using with .NET Core 3? Is Prism still the go-to? Are there newer, updated ones? Junicus, that's a great question. If Brian is still here, Brian, can you help out Junicus there? Brian is an MVP and he's the project lead for Prism. There you go. So tremendous resource to check in with Brian and get his opinion. I think that's definitely something to check into. There you go, and it's .NET Core 3 compatible. Awesome stuff there. That's great. Cryptrix says you're creating a server-side app, but have not yet talked about how it will be hosted. Is that important at this stage? Good question, Cryptrix. Because it's ASP.NET Core 3, any of the ASP.NET cores, you can actually bundle up everything for your application, and so that you don't need a specific Linux or Windows file server. You'll be able to deploy the web server with it. So your hosting option doesn't really matter. You can choose one of the ones in the cloud. You can choose a commercial vendor if you'd like. I'm going to end up using Azure here, and we'll have a lot of fun with that. Is that Zeke93? Thanks so much for joining us. I appreciate the follow, and I look forward to seeing you in the chat room. Hello, Ashish. Good to see you. So Carrie needs a new Mac? No, Carrie. The terrible thing is the specs are still decent on the machine. Yeah, the specs on this Mac have been tremendous. I'm really happy with it. I've already got a repository for this, so I'm going to go back over here, grab the clone information for this from GitHub, and copy this into my repository, initialize this folder so that we can start adding the project files into it, push it out, and then we'll set up continuous integration to run for the project, and then we'll start building some resources here. So I'm at the root level for my project here. Let me clear that out. I'm going to initialize source control for this. So I want to initialize in this current folder. I'm going to add the remote location, and I'm going to call it origin. So git remote, we're going to work with remotes, add a new one, that's what add is. We're going to call it origin, and the location is that I just copied off of GitHub. So now it knows where that is. Drew.net. Thanks so much for the resub. 3 months. That'll put you into a red hat from that cool purple hat. And thanks so much for that. We'll make a donation to Veterans Who Code. We're getting into a new project. Yeah, Sheesh. I thought we'd get into something that's a little bit interesting, something that folks might have a good time contributing to, because they'll be able to see and feel a little bit of how it grows and does some cool new things. Very woo. Very woo. Absolutely. So, I didn't put the project in there, Hugo. I didn't list it, and why isn't the bot responding? WLG3R says, I still run my MacBook from 2011. It shows its age, but still works well. Certainly. Yeah. So, all right, so I have my Git repository here. Before I add anything, I'm going to pull in what's out there in GitHub, right? And this is just the README at this point. Fine. Now I'll add in the files that were... Actually, I don't want to add in the files, do I? I want to put in a .gitignore. Let's go grab one of those real quick. The gitignore file... the gitignore file will specify to get to our source control. Hey, ignore these files. They're kind of lame. They're things that we don't really need as part of this. And they're private files that we don't need to copy around and keep in source control. So I'm going to... Oh, man. Is JF1021 still here? Did she... Oh, she's still here. Oh, go grab Dad. He's good. Right, this is when my father's going to be like, yes, look what Jeff's working on. I'm going to start a new file. I'm going to create that gitignore file. Ready? Here we go. I'm going to open VI. Oh, yeah. Wait a sec. It's already there. I don't need to do anything. I already have one here. Never mind. Fine. We're not doing VI today. Now, oh no, we know VI. So Sanad Meskin, all right, here, true story coming up. Before I went to college to learn and get into my computer classes, and I was learning Unix in college, Papa C# Fritz, who's a long-time Unix administrator, long time, tremendous skill set, knows IBM AIX inside and out. He is the go-to guy for IBM AIX. He gave me a reference. He copied his quick reference card for VI and gave it to me. He said, "You're going to need this." And I had that through college, and I learned some of the VI hotkeys very, very well there. I don't have a terminal command. I'm in Bash. I'm on the Mac here. So that, I think I already pulled the gitignore in from somewhere else. I don't think it was generated for me because this wasn't my folder. Yeah, it must have pulled in. Is it already there inside of the project? Let's close that. Yeah, I already had one on the initial commit in here. So, never mind. My bad. So, let's see what's going on here. All right. So I've got my gitignore. Let me add the rest of the files to the project. So I'm just going to do a flat git add. And we'll clean stuff up here later. But let's git commit initial source code structure. That's not ASP structure. Structure. Sure. All right. And I'll git push. So now I've got... Oh, come on now. Set upstream origin master. So set upstream origin master means this is the default location that we're going to push code to so that folks can interact with and use what we're working on here. Gitignore.io. Yep, you can go out there. There's some CLI utilities to call over to that site. There's some work to create a .NET utility. So you can say .NET and then generate some template files for that also. Shouldn't you change that gitignore to fit more with the tools you'll be using that you know up front? I actually grabbed that gitignore. The gitignore I grab is typically for Visual Studio. Ignore Visual Studio temporary files. So it is already in line with those types of things. So it's a good comment. It's a good question. I think we're in a good place right now with it. So I'm not gonna go too far into it. There are VS and VS Code extensions that generate git ignore files. Fantastic. The warlord is here. It's Fierce Kittens. Hello, hello. It's so good to see you. Make sure, can somebody throw a shout out to Fierce Kittens there in the chat room? We're going to do a Viking stream with Fierce Kittens at some point. I don't know what that means for me. I'm going to figure it out. I may have to get a Viking helmet as my hat for that day. But we're going to do some code together at some point here in the next 2-3 weeks. So, this is Tmux running on Bash on a Mac. The reigning kitten of Sohala.
And you blew it!
Because here comes Fairy Wings. No. Unsavable. Am I going to use Windows Template Studio? Maybe when we get over there. Right now we're working in Mac. So we're going to work on Mac. We're going to build a little bit over here. We want to show off and spend some time in May working on Mac. But when we get back over to Windows in June, July, maybe we will do that. But we want to make sure that everybody sees that you can do .NET programming wherever you're happy. And today we're going to be using the Mac. Okay. I want to add some. Let's take a look. Let's start in that source folder here, right? And it's still building over here. Good. I'm going to go down into the web project. Web. I'm going to add a reference, and I can add references using the .NET add command. So I'm going to .NET add. I'm going to add a project reference to the domain project. So you see it up here, Fritz Resource Management domain. So I'm going to go up and say fritz.resourcemanagement domain. It's going to find the project file in there, create that reference, and we should see, there it is. See the rebuild happening right here behind me? There it goes. Restore completed, and it should say that the built successfully, 0 warnings, 0 errors. You can see it right there. All right, fantastic. Viking hat, Minnesota Vikings hat. We're not in NFL season, so I wouldn't be opposed to a Minnesota Vikings hat. But I would think a proper Viking helmet might be called for that day. So there you go. All right. Moving on. So we've got the project reference. I could use Visual Studio Code to edit. I could open in Visual Studio for Mac. I have Visual Studio for Mac open. There it is. There's Visual Studio for Mac. But I feel, you know what? I was thinking of using this one today, but I think let's use Visual Studio Code today. I think we want to use Visual Studio Code. Is that, oh wow, LFRDG. I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but thank you for the follow. Let me know how to pronounce that in the chat room. I look forward to talking to you as we're writing our project here today. Sentiment is down here. What the heck? Can we be a little bit more friendly there in the chat room? The logo on the hat looks like Pinterest. Pinterest? Pinterest? No, not Pinterest. It's the Philadelphia Phillies. Oh my goodness, yes. So, I guess for folks outside North America, you might think that. I'm okay with that. So I'm going to start Visual Studio Code. Here it comes. We love Visual Studio Code. It's a text editor that's open source, free for anybody to use. If you'd like to build and work with not just .NET, JavaScript, TypeScript, Java, C++, Rust, Go. It supports a myriad of different languages. Python. Check it out. code.visualstudio.com. And you can start using... Frank.
Wait, let me explain something to you.
I'm from Philadelphia. This is a Phillies hat, okay? Phillies. I don't have the G Fuel command, and I need a nay command. Hugo, you're right. I need a nay command. I did say JavaScript. I hope not to write too much JavaScript. But we will write some JavaScript. We're going to start off, though, using Blazor. See that? All right. Yeah. Does that make you happy there, Hugo? We hit the horses button. Okay. I don't like how my source file. It named my solution file. I'm sorry, source.sln. That's kind of crummy. Let's rename that. I'm going to rename this. I want it to be fritz.resourcemanagement. There we go. And the solution file's in this old solution file format here. Don't show again for solution files. Go away. Shoot. All right. It's in this old format that's used by Visual Studio, and that's the only reason you have a solution file is to support Visual Studio, really. So I've renamed that. I should commit that change. I should. Be a good idea to commit that change. What's the hotkey to save all? Save all is, all right, is that, I always forget what this button is. What's that button? Because it's not on the Mac anymore. What is that thing? Right? Is that like Control S? Does that do the save all? No. Right? Is it this one? No. I don't know what it is. Let me go back over to the terminal, get status, and it should tell me, yep, there we go. I wanted to ignore the .vs code file. You make me sad. No. Wrong file. Are you kidding? Aren't I in the right folder? I'm in source. That's why I can't find it. Git ignore. Isn't there a VS Code? No. Huh. We need to have it ignore that VS Code folder. Star.vs. No, it's VS Code / or .vs Code / right? Like that. Okay. .vs Code / right? Did I do that right? Yeah. All right. So let's make those changes real quick. Yeah, I know. Git commit. Renamed SLN file. We'll close that out later. And git push. Cool. All right. Everything's up to speed. What do we got here? Cloverleaf intersection is the command. Stairs is option or alt. Ah, okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. Being a Windows first person, sometimes I get confused. All right, so I'm trying. What I thought it was. Isn't that Control tilde? There it goes. All right. So I have my domain and I have my web. So, well, you know what? Let's take a look at what this actually does right now. Why don't we start there? What does the application actually do? So I'm going to go down into source. Oh, I am in source. My bad. Web, and let's actually start this. So I'm gonna just execute .NET run. It'll start the application and give me a web server that is hosting it. Is there something for Bash on Mac as there is PoshGit for PowerShell? There is. I don't know it off the top of my head. Now hosting on localhost 5001. I should be able to command click. Yeah. Go ahead. You can go there. Accept the risk and continue. There it is. So this is running on with Blazor server side, and I've got an about page here, which tells me about ASP.NET. Big deal. My home, I've got this counter application that's making round trips to the server to do this, and I've got this page that fetches data from the server and paints it on the screen. Okay? This is kind of the default way that things look. Hey, Kasukin, just finished your stream. Welcome. You could have raided, man. That might have been cool. We need the nay command because it's going for a riding organization. That's not a bad idea. All right, let me get back. I will take care of that off stream. and we will do a thing for that. That's not bad at all. All right. I don't need this one. Oh, no, I did need that. All right. Let me go back. GitHub. Or wait, I can do this. Bring back those pages. Go back one. One more. Not the pull requests. All right. So this is the default application. Fine. I'm not too thrilled with it, but it does stuff. At some point, we're going to need to add. At some point, we're going to need to add security. Yeah. Security. We'll figure that out later. There are ways to get that in here sooner than later, but I'm not going to get too worried about it. So we need to have several different objects that we're going to reference and use inside of our web here. And I'm going to define those objects here in domain. And I'll create another project, actually, I think, to do the data interactions that'll manage the interactions back and forth with our repository. Midnight Tangent Ryan, will this only be web or also mobile native? I'd love to go mobile native as well. I think there's an opportunity for an IoT device here. You'd recommend using Homebrew. Yeah. Git Bash. Cool. Okay. Yep. There we go. So I think let's start defining some of these objects. Let's go through and talk about this. So, oh, there I go with the wrong hotkey. All right, so we have class 1 here. I'm going to create. I need to have people that are part of this, and a person can be a volunteer, can be different types of people. So maybe I have a person type, right? So let's have a public enum person type. Now, why isn't it doing some of that cool reformatting for me, right? What's the hotkey to format document? This format document is Shift staircase F, and staircase is Option or Alt. All right, so Shift Alt F should format the document. That's better. All right. So I'm going to have a person type. So I have several different person types. I'm going to have volunteers. I don't even need to put... Yeah, I should put numbers with these just so they're always locked in and they remember it. There are trainers. There are... and let's just start with... Well, administrator. Nah. There's other random staff. Let's start with that as a basic 3 types of people. Okay? And actually you could be several of those, I think. If it's possible that you could be several of them, we actually want to decorate this then with flags. Ooh, yeah. Oh, now I've done it. I hit the wrong... No, I don't want to be over there in search. Let me back up here. Thank you for the follow, TraceXDump. I see what you did there. There we go. That's better. I want to make this flags so that we can kind of bitwise and these together. So I'm going to make them 1, 2, and 4. Maybe I make staff 1. Yeah, let's make staff 1. Yeah, like that. Trainer, and then we'll make this one volunteer. Okay, so I've got that. Do I have the hotkey here to pop this out as another file? Yeah, there we go. I wonder why it didn't... whatever. All right, so now I have a person type here. No bit mask, you can be only one, not many. Yeah, I think you're right. That's in Midnight Tangent. I think you saw I already went for that. Yep, Hugo, good point. If it's flags, then values need to be power of 2. Yes. So, yeah, TraceXDump Is that a reference to one of my horses? Let me know. All right. So then we're going to have a person class. Rename that file. Yes, save those changes. Now it's still, that's weird. I renamed the file, but it's still. All right. That's kind of confusing. How do you call the process of creating models in software architecture? Design? I don't know. I'm not quite sure. Modeling? Yeah. I would work with that. Trick you saw for the flags enums is using bit shifting instead of 1, 2, 4. You do 1, 1. Oh, you do the bit shifts like that. That's interesting. I've also seen folks define it using hex notation as well. Whatever. Whatever makes you happy. So I'm going to start using some snippets here to define some things. So a person, of course, has an ID. Ugh, come on now. Person's going to have... Do I want a first name and a last name? Let's make it given name. Oh, it doesn't take me to the end like in full Visual Studio. And they have a surname. Surname. There we go. And then let's just start simple and give them a person type at this point. Person type. And we'll give them a type. Oh, man. I got to get used to that. Just so we have the basic simple person object, right? First name and last name. So if you do first name and last name, you're assuming an order to them. In other cultures, you have a given name and a surname, and they're actually reversed when you see how they're presented. So, all right, we'll put a middle name in here. I'm not opposed to that. And that is usually in the middle. That's fine. Why not person type array asks ZGLRX. How do you pronounce that, ZGL? So here's the thing. By making person type a bit mask that you see over here, we can end them together, right? We can actually say someone's a member of several of these by adding the values up. So someone's a member of the staff and they're a volunteer if their person type is 5, because 5 is 4 plus 1. They're a trainer and a volunteer if their person type is 6. So there you go. Flags. Yep. There you go. So that clears that up a little bit. I wanted to capitalize the N in name just so that you know it's a name. Whatever makes you happy. There you go. Full name. A full name feels like a derived field. Right? Full name could be derived, and let's figure that out later. I'm not going to I don't want to get wrapped up in, because that could get a little, depending on your culture, is going to behave differently. Yeah, it can be calculated. I'm going to leave that out there in case somebody wants to point that in. Until you add more than 64 role names. No, not going to run into that anytime soon. No. And these are types. They're not roles. Roles, different. That's a security concern. Your video isn't playing for more than a few seconds at a time. Ooh, I hit some dropped frames there. What happened? I mean, less than 0.1% dropped frames, but we're in good position. Yeah. Different permission tokens, different roles that you're going to create separately. So there's our person object, and if I go back over to here, we see it's still building and running successfully in the tab just above me. Good. So I have a person type, so I have a way to define a volunteer and their name. Next thing that I think we need is, oh, this is going to get good. we need to start defining schedules. So how do we define a schedule? This is interesting. I think for a person, we're going to want a foreign key to a schedule ID. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put... Who loves regions? Who loves your regions? Oh, yeah. Love me a region. And I'm going to make this reference a schedule ID. Oh, I did it again. So each person has a schedule so that we can define here's when they're working, here's when they're doing things, so that we can calculate and expand any recurrence items and inspect their schedule. So then we'll be able to compare when folks are available so that we can suggest, hey, would you like to work these days? Andy, is that Andy Bryce? Welcome, Andy. I appreciate you joining us. Thanks so much. You hate regions? Sorry about that. Gandalf, welcome. I appreciate the follows. We are at 6392. We're closing in on 6,400 followers. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate all the folks sharing our project here and the stream here. And we're actually, it's 11 a.m. I need to do something here real quick. I think Frank took off because Frank has a stream that he's starting here. I need to take care of something real quick for our buddy Frank. Give me 1 second. I'm actually, if you're watching me over there on the Visual Studio channel, click through and make sure you're following me over here on the C# Fritz channel. We're going to reroute the Visual Studio channel right now, so it's hosting our friend Frank. Oh shoot, wrong. There we go. I manage a couple of channels here on Twitch, just a few, 1 or 2. C17R, thanks so much for the resub. 3 months. That's going to put you into a blue hat. I think the previous 6 months were gifts. First of your own money. Well, thank you very much. That is very generous of you. I very much appreciate that. And I know I've seen you in the chat room. Thank you very, very much. And we'll make donations to Veterans Who Code for that. Yes, let's put a shout out to Frank over there. Thank you very much, Carrie. And we're now hosting him over on the Visual Studio channel. You'll be able to check out what Frank's doing today. He's talking about unit testing, and that was a request from some folks on the Visual Studio team that we host his channel today. Can you get a link to the Visual Studio channel? Can a moderator do a shout out to Visual Studio, please? I would very much appreciate that. Let's all vote for ancient names like hieroglyphs. No, bad idea. Bad idea. Go ahead, mods. You can sing Clarinator. What's that one you got there? Hang on. Let me... this one? There you go. There's the Visual Studio channel. Multiple shoutouts for Visual Studio now. Thank you. So each person has a schedule, and the organization itself has its own schedule as well. And then we're going to need to have schedules for resources. So I think schedule at a high level is another object that we're going to want to model here. There we go. Am I going to take into account other factors than availability, such as skills required? Yes. So there are skills and there are requirements. So at some point, we're going to need to match up those two, that when we have an opening, when we have a class that is scheduled, or a or we want to schedule somebody to do writing, we're going to have requirements that folks are going to need to have, skills that they're going to need to have in order to do that. So you have requirements and skills, and we're going to need to match those up so that folks, for the requirements specified, have a certain set of skills. That matchup is actually going to be a little bit like a dating game, right? where we're going to say we need these things, find folks that have those appropriate skills to match up. And those are the only people that we're going to want to include. CLW is here. Oh my gosh. Check it out. That is our friend. There he is. Corey Hurricane Weathers from the Twilio. Make sure you check out CLW. We may actually be calling on Twilio at some point because this application that we're building to do resource management, at some point we may want to be able to have folks be able to call in to a phone switchboard and say, oh, I'm out sick. Can somebody else take this for me? Or, hey, I need to make a phone call and see if we can place people and automatically make outbound phone calls to place somebody into the application. So at some point, we're going to want phone numbers in here too, aren't we? Let's put that in here. So a phone number is a string. Let's just put phone number in. And whether it's mobile, this is their contact phone number. I only want one phone number. Yeah, right? I thought you might like that. So you just imagine me as a host of the dating game using my voice from Fierce Kitten's sexy command. Oh, yeah. Oh, and there's other places you can find my voice over here on Twitch. If you go over to Fairywing Stream and you drop an ! marbles command, yeah, I'm over there too. I'm also on Quill Tony's. So smooth, like a Colt 45. No, not going there. No. So let's talk about what a schedule is. So we're going to define a schedule for not just people, but also for resources. This is a horse riding facility. There might be other resources like classrooms that have capacity and different things, and they'll have schedules also. But for the purposes of this, let's start with scheduling people. So let's define a schedule here. A schedule will be another class, and a class is our top level. Is our objects that we use in C# so we can define things that we're going to interact with. A schedule, of course, will have a schedule ID. Stupid. All right. Get rid of that terminal. I don't need to see the terminal right now. A schedule has a start time and an end time. Has a minimum start time. If you have their phone number, you can text to get in their next shift. Yes, Shuchi. Yes. No, I have two buttons on my mouse, so I can right click. And you can do 2-finger click on the touchpad and you'll get right click. So a schedule is going to have schedule items. So you have a top level schedule. This defines the entire thing. And then you're going to have items. They'll be individually scheduled classes. And then you might have recurring items as well. So I think they're calculated fields though. So there's a collection of items and a collection of recurrence patterns for schedules. Right? Let's think that through for a second. So an individually schedule item, right? Follow me on this. Schedule item ID, right? Come on, I want you to, there we go. So if I schedule an individual class, an appointment, it's going to have a start time and an end time. For right now, I don't have a location that goes with it, but it has a start time and an end time. So let's put those in. Public date time, and this is going to be the start time. Let's call it start date time because it needs to include the date as well. And it's going to have an end date time. Now, why am I getting red squiggles on my date time? Why don't you like this? Why you do this? Right? Isn't that what you say, Fierce Kittens? I don't have a using for system. Fine. So I have a start time and an end date time, and this is one scheduled item, right? This might be a doctor's appointment, right? Or an appointment for the barber. I know it's here. Right, an appointment for the... Come on, where's... I can't find my Dr. Evil quotes. I know I have Dr. Evil here somewhere. Where'd he go? An appointment for the barber.
Right.
Thank you, Dr. Evil. Stugan, thank you for the follow. I appreciate you joining us. Date time offset. I don't like using date time offset because date time also has a time zone built into it. And the time zone is going to be local to wherever you are. I don't need to get that sophisticated yet. I may need that, but maybe rename schedule item ID to just ID inside of a schedule item class. Is person? Yeah, person is ID. You're right. All right, so let's simplify these. I will get rid of that. Let's get rid of this one. And then I know what my duration is. Oh, I said it.
And then?
I know what my duration is, right? If I have a time span, I can specify duration, right? I don't want you to be able to set the duration, but the duration is end date time subtract start date time. And now I know what the duration of it is. A schedule item is assigned to a schedule. Yeah. Schedule ID. It can only be assigned to one of those. So I'm okay with that. So now I have that reference between a schedule item and a schedule. All right, so we're going to move that off to its own type. Schedules can also have recurring. Well, let's put in the collection of schedule items here. So we'll make that collection. I don't want to make it an IEnumerable. I want to make it an iList because I'm going to be able to add to it. So let's define that property. An iList is an interface definition that specifies generically, this is a collection of these things. So I'll control dot that, get my using statement appropriate for that. And we'll rename this to schedule items. Is that Mabel or is that Mablay? Let me know in the chat room. It's so good to see you. I appreciate it. All of our new followers coming through today. Thanks so much. We are at 6395, closing in on 6400. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. As we model out our new project here. So why doesn't it see schedule item? Schedule item was right here. Why don't namespace public class schedule item? Why doesn't it? Right, schedule item. Why doesn't the schedule? Yeah, it sees it. Of course, it works there. Orion Christopher, thank you for the follow. I appreciate seeing you here in the chat room. Dates are hard, yes. You would encapsulate any business value into its own value object. I agree. What if the end date time is lower than start date time? Well, that's a business rule issue that we're going to want to introduce. I'm making specifically for this cause, then refactor for others later. Otherwise, hard-coded person type may cause issues for general applications. You're right. It will create issues in others. So, all right. So let's take this out. Let's make person type. Let's take this out. I'm okay with that. That's a good call. Let's do this. Person type. And let's just put in an ID. Rats. String name. Okay. And then I can go back over to person. Oh my gosh, Kuda Coder. Thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate you joining us. Instead of it being here like that. Oh no. So, my bad. Sorry about that. I could make this an array. I'd rather make this an I list. Actually, it should be like an I collection. Right? We are going to use Entity Framework at some point. You're right. No, it was a good catch. Not to not overthink that too much. Sentiment analysis. We need to get a little happier there in the chat room. Oh my goodness. That is 0.1.
Shame.
I feel like this guy could have said something. Where'd he go? There's... no. Where is it? I've got so many sound effects here, I can't find the right one that I want. I'm looking for the guy from Animal House. I know he's here. I know he's here. I will find him. Is he up there? No, he's not in there. Nope, I can't find him. Rats. Oh well. I have the guy saying 0.0. What if middle name was like string middle name? Oh, thank you, Ancient Coder. But I see what you're doing here. No, Binary Chef, that's a lie. Did it? Did it? My watch isn't updating. I have the stock price on my watch. That's how paranoid I am watching my stock. Ooh, no, but it's doing pretty good. Trying to help the sentiment analysis. Thank you. Isn't it? So if I'm going to... why doesn't Twitch offer broadcasting software in-house? Why are OBS and XSplit used when Twitch, Amazon could build that? Asks Kivo259. I don't know. I think their open source project... Well, XSplit's a commercial product. But I think OBS is a great product that supports many different streaming services. So why reinvent something? And Twitch could probably take OBS and rebrand it. Fork it, rebrand it a little bit like Streamlabs did. But why? Folks already know it and they're like the brand name. So it's a joy meter. Oh, it's a joy meter. It's magical. Maybe. Okay. All right, backing up. Back to the schedule items. So we have schedule item over here, and it's got these things. Good. And we have a schedule that has schedule items in it. Good. Yeah, Grumpy Cat passed away. OBS, I believe, is GPL. It is open source. Might not be GPL specifically, but folks can take it and extend it and customize it. But what's Twitch going to add to it? Twitch itself actually doesn't have that many folks working for them. Amazon has a lot of folks working for them. Yeah, they have a nice ecosystem there. Not something to trifle with and mess up right now. I'm going to move this into its own file, schedule CS. Now, a schedule can also have recurring items, right? You can go into your scheduling software. I prefer Outlook. And you can always add like that recurring schedule. Hey, Fritz is doing streams on Friday mornings, every Friday morning. So I think we also need recurring schedule items as well. So if we have a public I list, and let's call these recurring schedules. Right? So if we have a collection of, and we will call these recurring schedules. Okay. Now we need that recurring schedule object. And this is where it's going to get a little weird. Recurring schedule. Now, a recurring schedule belongs to a schedule ID. So, and it's going to have its own ID as well. So int the schedule ID that it belongs to. Now I think I can do a little bit here. You would just flag schedule item as recurring. But Sanad Meskin, it's a little bit more than that. Because you're going to have a recurring pattern. You're going to have exceptions you're going to want to drop in there. Oh, I've been thinking about this problem. So we're going to have a recurrence pattern. And what are the various recurrence patterns we can have? Oh, yeah, this is where we're going to have a little bit of fun. So a recurrence pattern is an enum and yeah, it's not a flags. Tell you what, let's try the way Hugo was talking about doing this. So the different recurrence patterns could be daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, I don't know if we need annually, but I'm going to put it here just so we have it. But this is, so there's the inside the recurrence pattern, and then there's the outside the recurrence pattern. So, right. And custom patterns as well. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, daily is clearly every day. Weekly, there's going to be certain days of the week that you're going to want to say, oh yeah, I'm only in on Mondays every week. Or I'm in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday every week. Monthly is going to be like, well, I'm in the first and third of the month. Or, right? So you have that position within it. Oh, it does get complicated. A cron expression, Genescu. Genescu. That's a really neat idea, but before I dig into that further, I want to thank Blackhammer Jack for following us. I appreciate you joining us, and I look forward to seeing you in the chat room. Can I just call you Jack? Or Hammer? What is a cron expression? That's a really good idea. Oh my goodness. I like that idea. Let's bring up cron expressions for folks that aren't familiar with it. This is a very Unix-y type of topic. A cron expression is a way that Unix... cron is the job scheduler on Unix. And then you end up having... Oh, I said it. You end up having a tool called a cron tab that's a table of your scheduled tasks. You have these really interesting string expressions that define it. They get assembled together, and the operating system will calculate when it should schedule the next task to run. Everybody's happy. These are some really good questions today. These are very cron job-ish. Chat room, I love this suggestion. Thank you very, very much. Let's dig into this. Let's think about this and explain cron tab a little bit, cron expressions a little bit for folks who aren't familiar with cron, and let's evaluate if it makes sense. Because then we could just have a string that we pass around for these expressions. This looks like a lame cron maker. There was another one I saw out here that was really good at making cron expressions that was visual that you could work with. No. Let's see, how's this one look? Not that one, this one. Yeah, this is the one I want. So a cron expression, you specify on the minute, on the hour, on the day, on the month, the day of the month, the day of the week. And you can also put in annually and yearly in here as well. It is cron is a time-based job scheduler for Unix-like operating systems. Yes. Yep. Cron Tab Guru. Thank you, Junicus. I should have looked at chat before I went digging. So, my gosh, chat, you are really helping me out today. Thank you so much. So what we could do for our scheduling, right? This says at 4:05 on these things. This would be tremendous. Right? I would be able to say for somebody who has a schedule and they're not available, let's say they're not available on any value. They're not available on at 3 o'clock on every we don't care not which day of the month it's on every month, but the day of the week is Monday. Every minute of 15, so 3 p.m. on Monday, they're not available. There's what that would look like. Not nice for querying. SQL Mr. Magoo, I'm not necessarily going to query these in the database. Right? I'm storing the schedule item. It's not something that I'm going to query and run against. I want to just store it. At some point, though, I need to play it out. I need to expand those schedule items so that I have the full schedule. And that, I think I store in memory, or I store in a reporting database that shows the complete schedule of when folks are available. And there's where I'm going to query. Yep, a view over that would help. Before hopping on cron, check out iCal Standard 2. They have end times and it's quite expressive. Also, give me all jobs on Monday. Hold on while I translate all these cron strings on every schedule. Right, so the idea is that we would expand these out with some sort of behind-the-scenes job, right? And have a certain amount planned forward, but for storage and for maintaining these values, they're using cron behind the scenes. This is a neat site. And it'll also, right, it'll help teach you what some of these are as well. Chef Brent is here. Good morning, sir. So good to see you. Our friend Chef Brent. Make sure you check out, I think we did a shout out for CLW. Make sure you do a shout out there to Chef Brent. Another one of our friends from Twilio. Really cool to see you here. Thank you so much for tuning in. SQL Mr. Magoo says you need to do that and then, oh, wait a sec, you need to do that, and then take into account exceptions and tentative bookings. Yes. Yes. That's where we have exceptions to your schedule. Oh, the plot thickens. Is there a, have to go now? Good to see you, Sanad Meskin. Of course, this video will be available on YouTube. It won't be available for at least a day due to Twitch terms of service, but you'll find this on the videos on demand here on Twitch for the next 2 months. But it'll be available eventually over there on YouTube. So let's go back over to our code. I like that. I like that a lot. I'm going to get rid of the idea of recurrence pattern here because we don't need it. Instead, we have a schedule ID. We just put a string. It's so good. And then we can make this our cron pattern, right? I did it again. And then we can have exceptions that we punch into this that we play out. Autopilot Twilio docs are neat. There you go. Some kind words for our friends from Twilio. Very cool. You can write these using cron patterns, be a bit harder for the average user. Well, that's just it. How I store them and how I present them, two different things. Right? I'm sure there's going to be a NuGet package that we can use to do that translation for us. I'm willing to bet there is. I think we all, so if we need to punch a hole in these, well, first off, we need a minimum start time and a maximum end time for this. Let's make sure we have that defined. So let's define a date time, mean start time. There we go. And come here, you. Good. We need a max end time and date time so that you know how long to play out the recurrent schedule for, right? So then to sequel Mr. Magoo's point, if we're looking at schedule for June 2019, we don't need to look at expanding the recurring schedules for May. We can skip those. So, cron expression descriptor S&B. Cool, thank you. Could use Azure Functions to do the cron jobs. DNet78, I like that. There's some really great comments and some suggestions coming in here. Do me a favor. Open some issues in the repository for this so that we can track some of your really cool ideas. I'm not going to be able to get to all of them today, but I want to make sure that we consider all of these. And this is over here, github.com/FritzandFriends/resource-management. Okay? We could probably use Azure Functions to manage some of those, to expand and to keep in memory somewhere a fully expanded schedule that we can compare against. Oh yeah, CLW. Oh yeah. We're going to be doing some Blazor.
Totes my goats.
And it's going to be tremendous, okay?
You can do it!
We can. We're going to do all kinds of Blazor over here. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, so I've got a min start time, max end time. We could see some classes inherit from interfaces, inject those interfaces. Turrican, let's not get too carried away. Start simple, minimum viable, and then pass it on. I'm already thinking I might be getting a little bit too involved here at this point. I'm going to have some collection of schedule exceptions which feel like schedule items. I'm going to copy the same thing here, even though it doesn't hook up to schedule idea. Devman NL. Welcome, Devman. Good to see you. Needs a jacket? Not yet. Wait till we get to the Blazor development. Hey, Andres. Yep, we've been going at it for about an hour and a half here. I think, you know what? Can we just create... Can we do this? Chat room, help me out here. Can we just do this? Can we just do that? So by having an I list of tuples that are date time, and that's the start and end. And actually I can do it like that. Right? So I'm inserting and I'm managing start and end times for the exceptions. So if you have a recurring schedule, maybe it's recurring of available, or maybe it's recurring of not available. And there's the start and end times for those. What do you think, chat room? Learned something new today, sequel Mr. Magoo. What did Mr. Magoo have for us? What did I miss? Yeah, Chef Brent, the congestion in our part of the States here has just been... congestion with the pollen has been insane. That's how Outlook does it. Exceptions are concrete scheduled times. Recurring appointments are virtual. Yes. There we go. All right. So I've got schedule exceptions and a recurring schedule that has a minimum start time, maximum end time. I think that'll work for us to start here. Let's move that into its own... Move that in... No. There we go. Move that into its own file. All right. So, why am I getting the red... Why am I getting the red line there? It's still building. We're still good right here behind me. 0 warnings, 0 errors. I'm good. All right, so I have schedule items on a schedule. So those are the concrete items, the one-offs. And then the recurring schedule. Oh, yeah, we'll be in every week on Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 3 p.m. You're in Southeast Pennsylvania as well. Pollen it's been nasty. It's been downright nasty. Is that better? How's that work?
People know me.
And they send the pollen after me. So there's recurring schedule. That's fine. No, that's schedule item. Recurring schedule. Why is it saying... Hey. Yeah, that's fine. All right. Person has a schedule ID. Okay. So, and that schedule ID is... Gosh, that schedule ID is going to be their availability and their unavailability. What letters? Thank you so much for the follow. We are at 6,399 followers. Who's going to be 6,400? Flag on schedule item for tentative. Interesting. Interesting. I think so. Maybe the schedule items have three states: tentative, available, unavailable. Right? And those would be on schedule items and on recurring schedules. If you have a schedule of unavailability. Oh, sorry, I have yoga class every morning at 8 a.m. during the week, Monday through Friday. That could be a thing. Okay, so let's create an enum for that. Let's call that schedule status. Not available. Tentative. Spelling. I know it.
Throw me a frickin' bone here.
Right? I wish Visual Studio Code had a spelling extension so we could check the spelling on some of these. And then the last one is available. Okay. So not the schedule itself, but the schedule items then is going to jump through. Yes. I can have am I declaring, is this what did I just call it? A schedule status. Are you declaring you're not available for this time, or are you declaring you are available for this time? So we need to declare that. Our recurring schedule, are you declaring a recurring schedule of availability or a recurring schedule of unavailability? What was it again? Schedule status. We'll just call it status. Right? Yeah. There we go. What's Carrie working on? What did I miss? Your son was follower 5,000. Oh, on this stream, yes. 6,400. Who's the new follower? I guess what letters was follower 6,400. Congratulations. What letters? Should recurring schedule extend schedule item? No. Yeah, flex there. Sure, you can go ahead and flex a little there. Availability is based on not having scheduled items and having scheduled items that are of type available. Not having. Yes. Absolutely. I think you're right, Midnight Tangent, Ryan. So, you have a schedule, right? A person has a schedule made up of schedule items and recurring schedules. You'll have some schedule items that say, yes, I'm available at this time. And you'll have some schedule items that say, no, I'm not available at this time. Welcome. Is it Reading Rabbi? That's not the type of content that we appreciate here on this channel. It may be on yours. And I can say welcome, but we try to stay family friendly here. Okay? Totally read that wrong. Yeah. What would a user put the not available there? That seems to be data that would change quite often. Would that be used? So Junicus, I think when you have a recurring schedule and or they're going on vacation, if I'm going on vacation, and you know what, I'm going to be out for the July 4th weekend here in the States. That's a typical weekend that folks go on holiday. So I'm not available for that time. Well, I would set my start date time and my end date time to cross that, and I would mark that as not available, so that it punches a hole in that availability schedule. So I think that's a legit, and that's a good way to do that interaction. So good question, very great questions here, and I hope we get to a point that this model makes a lot of sense for folks, and I think we're getting there. So let me move that into its own file, and if we go back over here to the terminal, there, it's going to rebuild here above me, and it should. I was hoping it would. Typer namespace name schedule status could not be found. What? In schedule item and recurring schedule. Schedule status, it's right there. Schedule status. Why you do this? It's right there. Oh, you're just gonna rebuild for me all of a sudden.
You're about to get a serious beatdown.
You are. Don't mess with me. That'll be used to do known exceptions. Yes. And I think that becomes a very interesting part of this. These other files haven't been saved. All right, let's see if we can force that save. No, that's not what I wanted. Is it this one? No. I want to do save all. What was the save all? I thought I was doing that. Save all is the funny step, so that's Alt key. So it's these two. There it goes. So now the terminal should recompile and we should be in good shape. Right? Good. All right. Going back over here. So now I've got a recurring schedule. I've got a schedule item. Now, what was it? What was the cron NuGet package that was being suggested? Because I think we need to start talking about our first set of unit tests around building and managing these models, because I think that'll help drive out some of our business logic, some of our business rules here. You created an issue in GitHub. SMB, you rule. There we go. NuGet package for cron expressions. Here we go. Cron expression descriptor to convert between cron expressions and human readable. Library that converts cron expressions into human readable descriptions. Okay, so this will go to readable descriptions. Will it give me... Can it give me... Okay, so every minute. Cool. Can it give me the date, not just description, and I like that it'll do it in all the different languages. That's pretty cool. But can I get it to play the schedule? You know, can I get it to tell me, here's where... Check the comment. Are you kidding? Is the chat room on it like that? Along with that, end cron tab to work with the cron expressions. Love it! Fantastic. All right, so let's do this. So I'm going to grab cron expression descriptor, and I should be able to... No, I don't want that one just yet. Grab this. Do I put this in the domain class project, or do I put it somewhere else? 97422. Welcome. I appreciate the follow. Thank you. Or yeah, do we put it into a new project, Cryptocoder? For scheduling with cron expressions, you can use quartz. Well, I'm not scheduling a task so much as I'm going to generate and expand out schedules so that I can compare. Yeah, I'm not necessarily running them. It's a good suggestion, and that might work for some other folks, is that Twixus. I like where you're going there, But not for this project. I'm not executing tasks. I just want to compare schedules so that I can notify folks appropriately. Are ROTAs part of the requirements? Can you give me a little bit more about what you mean there? Is that San Limos? Oh gosh, and help me out with pronouncing your handle there. Let me know what you mean by that. Are you referring to... Yeah, what do you mean by that? It's a core concern, isn't it? Asks S&B. It is. We're going to want to explain people's schedules, put it into text form. I'm going to add this package. And I think you're right. I think we have not just the domain objects, but I think we have our schedule management project as well that'll do that business logic. So let me add a schedule project that'll do all that business logic. Is that Visherd? Thanks so much for the follow. Look forward to seeing you in the chat room, and let me know if I pronounced your name right. I want to make sure I know how to pronounce everybody's name correctly. Don't want to slight anybody. All right, let me go down into source. Let's add that new project for doing the schedule management. Vishard. Thank you. Okay, Vishard. Thanks so much for joining us. So I'm going to execute .NET new. I think this will be another class library that'll do the management, and we'll end up pulling it into Azure Functions or some other places to do that interaction. Later might have to be used for sending emails, that task of that nature. You're right. Tell you what, let's open an issue for that. Consider courts.net for scheduling emails and other things. That's a very good point. I think you're onto something there that we will want to consider in the future. But yeah, let's consider that I like that idea. So I'm going to create ResourceManagement.scheduling. That's not how you spell scheduling. And we'll put business logic for doing that here. What? Oh, no. Make this a -O. Oh, there we go. I want to do -F net standard 2.0. There we go. And inside of that scheduling, we're going to want to add a reference to the domain object. So .NET add reference Fritz resource management domain, so that we get that project reference so it knows how to use those things. Okay? Okay, I think that's... so let me add this package to that so that we can put the expression descriptor, have that managed over here in this thing. If this gets deployed as an Azure function, as its own standalone service, all the business logic will be wrapped up here, and we'll be able to test against it. The other package that we saw referenced, and that I'm really excited to take a look at here, is going to do the actual, ncron tab. Let's take a look at this one, bring this one in as well. I like that now when I click into NuGet.org, it remembers which one of these tabs I prefer. That's nice. Little things make it real easy to use. So here comes ncron tab. You use Hangfire, very fond of it. Okay. We'll take a look at that at some point in the future as we get through and start adding more features in here. So I think I have my recurring schedule, my schedule item, my schedule exceptions. Maybe we have, so off of the recurring schedule, Twitch-aholic. Oh my gosh. thanks so much for the subscription. I appreciate you joining us, and we'll make a donation to Veterans Who Code, as we are with all of our subscriptions and cheers this quarter. I really appreciate that. Thank you. I think, so we put schedule exceptions here on the recurring schedule. I think we also need schedule exceptions, right? So we're not just punching a hole in the recurring schedule, or do we put the schedule exceptions on the schedule itself? Yeah, I think it goes over there. So that, right, we're punching a hole on the schedule. When I say punching a hole, we're creating an exception. We're there we go. Get my using statement in there. We're gonna punch a hole. We're gonna say this doesn't apply here. It is a new project, Wheelchair Sean. Yeah, I thought we'd get into something that something that's a little bit outside of streaming that folks can relate to and maybe even reuse in their own space in the future. Not using date time offset. So if you use date time offset, let's just cut some code here. Right? I don't care. Whatever. Right? Date time offset. Right? Foo. Right? Ugh. Come on now. New. Date time offset. Right? And then you're bringing in a date time and it becomes time zone-less. And at some point, we're going to need to bring in time zone here. So that's going to be important to have time zone at some point. For the purposes of this application, I'm not concerned about, and for our MVP, I'm not concerned about time zone yet. And NODA time will become very important at some point. Yeah. We did a bit of work. We talked with John Skeet about a year ago about NODA time and using time zone and some of those considerations. If the app will be used by one organization, there isn't need for date time offset. Right. We'll get there, and we'll get into multi-tenancy later, too. All right. So I think... So a schedule is generic enough that a schedule can be hooked up to several different things, not just a person, but we could also hook it up to a facility or to other types of resources and be able to work with those. Twitchaholic asks, how do I find writing C# projects in Visual Studio Code as opposed to full Visual Studio? It's a little bit different. There's certainly some things that I enjoy that aren't here. For example, let me put that constructor back in here. IntelliCode would be really cool, but I think IntelliCode is an extension that you can add in here, isn't it? Where's extensions? This one, right? Visual Studio IntelliCode. Yes, please. I'd like that. It's already installed. It is. If it is. Yeah, I don't think IntelliCode works with C# yet in Visual Studio Code. Right? Let me click into the settings here. Right? About IntelliCode. Yeah. TypeScript, JavaScript, Python, Java. Yeah, it doesn't work with C#. Isn't that weird? It doesn't work with C# here in Visual Studio Code, but it works for all these other folks? You make me sad. There was a link in the description for C#. Where? For C#, TypeScript, and JavaScript and XAML support in the Visual Studio IDE. So that's in Visual Studio 2019. You need to check out the IntelliCode extension for that. Yeah. You've created an issue to upload. There you go. So, yep. All right. So IntelliCode would be nice to have over here. I'm a big fan of full Visual Studio and Visual Studio for Mac, but it's not there. Yeah, to upvote it. Thank y'all. Yep, IntelliCode issue 81. Right, if I go over here, I don't have access to the chat room here on the Mac. GitHub.com, Microsoft, IntelliCode, issues 81. Microsoft Docs. I went to the wrong repository. C# support. 15 days and nothing happened. Well, hang on. Based on part because of user demand. Yeah. Yeah. So we need to upvote. Give it a big +1 up top there. Why didn't it? There it is. 21 votes down here. You can't see it behind my noggin. There it is. Right, 21 votes. Get out there, drop a thumb on that. So, VS Code has Control/ to uncomment, comment and uncomment stuff. It's Control K, Control C in full Visual Studio. Right? Ah! Oh no! I thought I told it to use the Visual Studio hotkeys. Toggle line comment, block comment. Yeah, there's a way to. Inspect key mappings. No. Preferences, key maps. I want the full Visual Studio key maps. What? No. Keyboard shortcuts. Yeah, there's a way to flip these so it's using the Visual Studio ones. Much quicker to Control/. Yeah. Yeah, Control K, Control C. Exactly. On Windows. There's a way to reroute this. No problem, Ono Free Kevin. Did .NET Core development exclusively on Mac for about a year. Preferred .NET Rider or VS Code. Full Visual Studio for Mac didn't seem to cut it very well. Yeah, they're improving it. It's coming around. So, it's coming around. They mean well. And they're cross-pollinating here, and I think the things that you'll see happen with .NET 5 will really make Visual Studio for Mac shine. All right, so I've got those schedules. I have this schedule project over here, and we want to start using and interacting with cron tab and building schedules. We're also going to want to be able to build that cron tab. So we were looking at ncron tab here. Let's open the project site for ncron tab. Let's take a look here. See if we can get some basic ways. All right, so that's the cron tab format. 6-part format allows for seconds. No. Iron Python. I'm not using Iron Python or F#. C#. So you're parsing it, start time, end time, and you're saying get next occurrences. Nice. That's easy to use. Okay. But if I'm building the cron tab, I need to figure that out. All right. So let me go back over here. Let's start out. So let's take class 1 here. Let's call this well, it's in scheduling. Let's call this schedule manager. And if you're passed in a schedule, I don't want to put a constructor on it just yet. I'm going to want to, if I'm passed in a schedule, I'm going to want to return a collection of date, time, and whether or not they're available. Start time, end time, and whether or not they're available. And that's your entire played out schedule. Sorry, I didn't punch the project into that project thing. So if we have an expanded schedule, it's those things, right? So let's create a class for that. Not class.
60% of the time,
my
it
typing
works every time.
Yeah, 60% of the time. My typing works all the time. So if we call this it's not a schedule item, it's let's call it a time slot. Right? I don't have an ID for this, but it does have a date time for the start date time. I did it again. Date time, there it goes. It has an end date time. And it has a schedule status. And the collection of these things is what an expanded schedule is. Make sense? So let me go back over here. So if I have a schedule manager, I'm going to return an IEnumerable of time slots. Time slot. And we'll call this expand schedule. And we'll receive a schedule object. No. Vandelibot, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate you joining us. Naughty Yeti, thank you for the follow. Look forward to seeing all of our new followers in the chat room. Cron Espresso Net. You're very welcome. So hang on. Oh my goodness. Kivo 259. Thank you for the follows. Mouse click for multiple selection. Yes. The virtual space. Yep. Cron Espresso Net. So GitHub. This is Conway 91. And it is Cron Espresso -net. What do we got here from Conway 91? .NET library for generating cron expressions. Ooh, I like the way this sounds. Allows the creation of cron strings at runtime, removing the need to hardcode cron string values into the source code. Like the way this is sounding. Generate hourly cron expressions. Generate daily cron expressions. Nice. I like it. I like the way that sounds. Cron Espresso. Let's add this into the mix so that we have a way to generate those expressions. So I'm going to .NET add package. This is into our scheduling here. Why didn't you like that? Because it didn't copy in what I copied. You make me sad. You make me so sad. I know, right? So copy, right? Over here. There it is. Cron Espresso. Add it to the thing. We like the stuff. All right. So now we have that available to us as well. Good. Let me go back over to Visual Studio Code. Thank you. Who keyed in the project there for the Fritz bot? What are you going to build? Yeah, there you go. That's what we're working on. And who's our new follower there? Spooky Boo. Or is it Spocky Boo? Thank you for the follow. I appreciate you joining us. Thank you, Carrie, so much for adding that out there. Need to retry it. Alt-Shift mouse click. Yes. Oh my gosh. Mortal Box. Thank you for the follow. Lots of followers. The follower train is strong. Wow. Castroala. Thank you for the follow. So if we're expanding the schedule, oh my goodness, so many great folks joining us today. Thank you. You know what? Let's tell this to rename the file here. Rename file to schedule manager. Cancel that. Delete it from disk. That's right. shoot. Don't save. Okay. How we doing? Good to see you, Daniel Silva. Thanks so much for joining us. And this project is open source. If you're interested in helping out, if you see something that you want to enhance, you want to change, you want to improve, you're more than welcome to create issues, to send pull requests. I haven't shared the link into the chat room. Can somebody copy the link to the GitHub repository, punch that into the chat room for us? Let's see if we can just expand the schedule real quick. So I'm going to have a start time and an end time for the schedule that I'm going to want to iterate over and expand and create entries in a collection that's going to be output. So if let's create an out schedule. There we go, an out schedule. This is going to be a new list of time slots. Right? That we're going to insert schedule items into. Thank you, S&B. I appreciate the link. All right. So if we have a list of these, the easy thing to do. Oh, you know what? We don't just want to expand the schedule. We want to expand it for a given start time and a given end time. Right? I feel like we should start with a unit test around this so that we know that it's working properly. And we can target and say, okay, I expect this. I'm going to put this schedule item on it. I expect it to return those schedule items. Well, let's put the framework around this first. So at least that works. That's a thing that's going to do its thing. That's a thing that'll work properly, right? That's proper C# at this point. Let's put a little description to go with this. See that? Look, it doesn't... Why won't you give me my... You make me sad, Visual Studio Code. Not expanding my automatic... What's it called? Documentation stuffs. Documentation stuffs? That's a word, right? Let's see here. I think we need we should start with a unit test around this. So let me go up one. I feel like I should go up one more to put tests so they're next to source. So they're not in the same folder. Yes, Carrie. Yes, that is a fantastic idea.
Make it so.
We need to invite Jim Holmes. Where do I get those cool hats you were wearing at Build? Asks Wadsy. We did a charity stream on Sunday, and those hats are all custom. So I actually go to an embroidery shop and they make them for me on the spot. You can download those images. They're real easy to find for each of the icons and take them to an embroidery shop near you and have them made. But for folks who made generous contributions to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, we're sending out a couple as a thank you for those folks for their donations. I think I just put the test project right here for now. Oh, you know what? And I didn't add the scheduling project to the solution, did I? Let's add it to the solution. .NET SLN add Fritz resource management scheduling. Make sure that gets into the solution file. Let's create a new project, another new project. This will be another class library. Let's call this test.scheduling. That way it's in a separate namespace, so it doesn't inadvertently get confused a little bit here. So test.scheduling, I'm going to specify this is going to use Net Standard 2.0. Cool. And I'll add that into the solution as well. .NET SLN add test.scheduling. Okay. So go back over here. I want to add XUnit to that scheduling project, to that test project. So let's .NET add reference. No, add package. XUnit. That should work, right? Right? There we go. Okay. Hey, Cartoofer. Good to see you. So now, if I collapse that up, there's my test scheduling project, and I've got my first test sitting here. From test scheduling, I need a reference to the business scheduling project, right? So .NET add reference Fritz.ResourceManagement scheduling. I'm also going to need a reference to the domain object, because I need to reference what a schedule object is to create one of those and make sure that it's expanding properly. Cool. I'm now going to change what it's executing over here. It was doing .NET Watch build on the website. I'm going to do .NET Watch test on the test project. So .NET Watch this project, and the verb. What do you want it to do? Run the tests. So as the files change, it's going to run tests here, because I'm not actually working on the web project just yet. All right, so that's starting up, and it's not building quite yet. Schedule Manager can't find schedule yet. Okay, so let's jump back over here. Let's look at Resource Management scheduling. Let's make sure .NET reference, .NET add reference to Fritz. I need to go up one. Fritz.ResourceManagement domain. Let's make sure it has that reference, which should force a rebuild on this side. Should force a rebuild on this side. Yep, show me that. Conespresso, Cron Expression, Fritz Resource Management Domain, CS Proj. Yeah. Project already had a reference to that. Oh, thank you. Hey, Berikson. Thanks so much for joining us. I appreciate the kind words about that. Now, why doesn't it know what schedule is here? Maybe we're missing a using statement? Maybe. Maybe? Yeah. It's missing. It's definitely missing that using statement, but why am I not getting... Right? And now that should rebuild, and it should find it. Nope, still doesn't find it. IEnumerable could... Well, that's in a use... That's in... IEnumerable... Right? That's weird. Right? Like, why am I not getting my squiggles here that it doesn't know what IEnumerable is? Why you do this? Right? That's in .NET Standard. Right? IEnumerable is in system.collections. I shouldn't have to type these. It should be calculating this for me. Is it system collections generic? Yeah, I think you're right. I'm so used to it just calculating and figuring it out for me. You know? Come on. Rebuild right here over my shoulders. Unable to find test DLL. Test host DLL. Please publish your test project. Oh, I don't have a test runner in there, do I? It's amazing how dependent you become on Visual Studio tooling. I know, Coding Gorilla. I know. You get so used to it. I mean, you know these things, but it's when you don't use it, you lose it a little bit, and you can focus then more on your business project, your business rules that you need to enforce. I'm going to go up one and go down into the test project, and I think, where is it? Come on, over here. if I'm going to run XUnit, right, I need an XUnit runner, right? Using the command line, yes. XUnit runner Visual Studio. And we need the Microsoft.NET Test SDK. Yeah, we're going to want that also. Back over here. .NET add reference. Crows! Look at that. 7 months. Thank you so much for that very kind subscription. And we'll make another donation to veterans who code this quarter. So we're going to .NET add package on Microsoft.NET.test.sdk. And boom goes the dynamite. We need xunit.runner.visual studio. Let's get that into the mix also. So .NET, yeah, add package xunit dot, what did I say it was? Runner.visual studio. We should get the rest of that in the mix here. No Bing? Nah. .NET does have some templates that should set it up for you. It still doesn't like that with the test host. Why doesn't it? Is it because I don't have any classes built here yet? I mean, let's write a test, our first test here, and figure that out. So let's call this Schedule Manager. Schedule, I actually, so our friend Steve Smith and actually Brandonius over on Dev Chatter showed me a nice way to organize these. I'm going to create a folder here, and we'll call this given simple schedule, right? And then we'll create a class. This will be when expanding schedule, right? Didn't create all my namespace stuff for me either. Test.scheduling dot given simple schedule when yeah, that's my class name. Public class when expanding schedule. All right. So we're gonna put on this. Let's put our first fact. Public void. Should create the schedule items specified. Right, so if you say, hey, I'm available for these times, it should create those things. Right, so I'm just going to save that. Now, it didn't give me the ability, right? Yeah. To put in the using statement for XUnit there. Right, I need a using statement for system. I need a using statement for XUnit. But those aren't a thing yet. Where the heck did my terminal go? It should be restarting right here behind me. No. Restart VS Code to get the code actions back. And Vishard's asking about the test attributes. Yeah, so fact is the test attribute here. If I force it to reload the window, right, maybe we can get it to pop back and think that's in C#. Oh, look at that, downloading OmniSharp for OS X. Not live shit, that's not where I wanted to be. C# Docker, it should have... Yeah, look, it's still installing and updating all the things. So it's downloading packages and updating. Come on now.
What'd you do?
I don't know. It's not showing me the things. Go ahead, restore all that. There we go. Now I'm getting my squiggly lines. Fine. I will remove this one. And control dot over here. And command dot. Yeah. X unit. I guess I had the naming backwards. Alright, so now if I go back over here, waiting for a file to change. Didn't we just save this file? It should have rerun. Gotta run, you'll be back on the stream next week. Take care, CLW. Good to see you. Corey! Hurricane Weathers. So, just asking, why not just use the templates provided by .NET? Is there a test template here right now? Is there a test? There's MS test, X unit. I should have started the X unit test. You're right. You're right. I could have done that. Bad Jeff. Bad Jeff. Yeah, why doesn't it like this? Run the test. Run it. Do it.
You can do it!
Build. Do it. Nope. Now it feels weird. Alright, hang on. Let's go back over here. .NET new X unit net standard 2.0 test.test. Why you do this? Fine, I'll get rid of that. Today. Where'd it go? I had... why don't I see it? Is it down there? No. Is it over here? No. I had Jack Nicholson. I can't find it. No. Those are the bad words ones.
Alrighty then.
Fine, we finally built. Let's see what test.test has in it for us. See what I'm doing wrong here, because I'm doing a lot of wrong here. Target framework netcore app 3 is packable false. Yeah, .NET test xunit xunit.runner.visual studio, and if I put that side by side with this one, Microsoft Test SDK xunit runner Visual Studio. What's the difference? This was Netcore app. And I'm going to get rid of all that nonsense. Let's go back over here. Testing. Come on now. Version numbers are different. That's okay. It's a newer patch version. That should be okay. Here we go. Starting test execution. Yeah, I can say that. Yeah. The idea that AI for the stream deck, would that be worthwhile? An AI that picks for the sound bit but based on purpose. Say impatient and it picks sound bites for that. Ooh, that'd be cool, Junicus. That'd be cool. I like that. Fine. Go ahead, restore. I'm going to remove that test project. Don't need it. Okay. So now I have... Yep, deleted from disk. You're right. Should create the schedule item specified. So let's define a schedule. All tests come in 3 parts. Arrange, assert, not asset, and then act. So let's define our schedule first. Var my schedule equals new schedule. Yep, get the appropriate using statement. Wrong one. This. I have, let's put a schedule item equals new. No, new. Right, and schedule item is an I list. So we'll create a list of... Are you kidding? Are you really going to do that to me, Visual Studio Code? Of schedule item object. Okay. Do get the using statement. Good. So we'll put our first schedule item in here. And it will have a start date time of, let's just hard code this. New date time, 2019, May 17th. And let's have it start at, not on a calendar, let's have it start at 3 p.m. Okay. Just so we have something predictable that we can reference. End date time. Oops. Don't need the curly brace there yet. All right. End date time. New date time. Let's make this an hour-long appointment. So it's on the 17th, and it'll end at 4 p.m. Okay. And that's all that I need for the schedule item, right? There's other properties in here. Schedule ID instead. You know what? We should make the status. Well, no, we're not looking at status here. Let's just ignore that for now. Assertions will fail if you don't act on the system under test first. Agreed. And I am getting the squiggles now. You're right, Junicus. Terramune, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate you joining us. Good evening. Yep, I'm starting on a new project just so that it's somewhere easy for folks to jump in. Mortezoft? No, Mortez Asoft. Thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate you joining us. So that's what our schedule looks like. So what I want to do is I want to start up a schedule manager, which is our system under test. So why you do this? Fierce Kittens, you got me saying that. You totally have me saying that. New schedule manager. Right? And the schedule manager... Yep, there it is. We're going to get a collection of time slots results. So let's call these results equals SUT expand schedule, and we're going to pass it that initial schedule, which is my schedule. And start time, I'll say new. Why do I start typing new and it flips over all the time? I'm going to have it start from the beginning of 2019 and have it end on... Really? Okay. Have it run through the end of the year. Okay. So it runs for a full year. It's going to expand the schedules. Wait, I have these backwards. It should be act assert. My bad. My bad. There we go. Thank you. So now the results should have one entry in it, right? I should be able to say assert dot, and if I do equals, that's not what I want. I'm going to do, if I do contains, I want to say assert collection contains, single. That's what I, asserts that a specified contains only a single element of the given type. Yes. The collection is results. Right, so there should be a single entry in there. Now we should start to see. Isn't that the act phase? Well, the act is expand the schedule. This is what I want to do. Expand the schedule. I'm looking for one result item in there. And I want to check, right, that I'm expecting... a new... I'm expecting 15. Watch this. Results dot first dot Right, because results is a collection of time slots. The first one doesn't. What do you mean it doesn't have doesn't have first? Of course it has first. There we go. It's a system link reference. All right, and we want to say the start date time dot hour. Right, make sure it starts at 3 p.m. If we found that, it's a pretty good chance it's the right thing. All of us uptight programmers are going to go crazy with a certain act comments. Yeah, I moved them around. Sorry about that. Arrange, act, assert. Set up your test, do the test, assert the test. You're right. Thank you, chat room. I made a mistake. I got so excited I jumped through it too quickly. So if I go back over here, started, execute, here we go. It's running the test now. Starting test execution. And test run failed. Okay. Collection was expected to contain a single element, but it was empty. So one test run, and it failed. Good. This is what we expect because we didn't actually write the code to do the expansion yet. I'm going to write this one test, and then I think we're going to call it a day. All right. So, what I want to do, I want to add schedule items to the out schedule. So let's say out schedule add time slot, the schedule items. So it'll just be a collection of them, and at some point later we'll remove the exceptions. So let's just add the we don't want to add just flat add. We want to add a range, yeah. And the collection we're going to add is going to be from we'll call this expand schedule items, and we'll pass it our schedule dot schedule items. Go expand these things and return a collection of them. So, and I don't want to just expand it across that. I need to give it the start time and the end time to expand across. So let's grab this and generate that method. It should be a private method. There we go. With the appropriate signature. Oh, I feel good. Okay. So we're going to have an out list of time slots. So we're going to need a new list of types time slot. And I know we're doing some nasty time memory management things here. We'll optimize later. Make it work, and then make it faster later. So we're going to look at the schedule items, figure out if they're in the right time slot. If they are, add them into the list. So we'll just say out list dot add range. We're going to look at each one of the time slots. So we're going to say schedule items dot where, and we want to look at for each item oh, come on now. Wrong button. My bad. Okay. Where the start date time of the schedule item is less than the end date time, and the end date time of the schedule item is greater than the start time. Oh yeah, that feels good. But why am I getting a red squiggle? Cannot convert from system generic collections IEnumerable. Blah blah blah. Fine. Create that. Cast that to an array. You still don't like it. Why? Add range is looking for an IEnumerable of time slots. Well, this is a collection of schedule items. Well, there's my first problem. There's your first problem. I don't want to cast that to an array. I need to do a select out of it so that I can cast these into new time slots. And a time slot has a start date time. That'll be the I start date time. It has an end date time. That'll be the I end date time. And it has a status, and that'll be the I status. So that should now be adding appropriately to outRange. And we will return that list. I don't even need to create that list, do I? Right? I could just do this as return like that. And then I don't need the to array either. Right? I think that's what we want. Did that just solve the test? Let's go back over here. Running the test, starting test execution. Passed. All right. That feels good. So, it's the very simple first scenario, but we have the ability to take a schedule, put a schedule item on it, and it'll expand and show us those schedule items of, well, at least it'll put them in the list. Part of me feels like we should put an order by on this also. Let's put an order by on it just to make calculations a little bit faster later. Right, so now I'm ordering by time slot. So I'm going to order by, let's order by the start date time. So that'll work. All right, and that should still execute and run our tests properly right here above me. And yes, run successfully. Fantastic. Let's clean up our work and call it a day, and maybe we'll get back to this over the weekend. Maybe. All right, I'm going to do a quick git status here. Let's add all the things. Commit it. Added schedule and first schedule test. All right. Let's push that so it's out there in our repository. Fantastic. And I'm in a master branch right now. I don't want to live in the master branch forever. So I'm actually going to switch to a dev branch. And I'm going to push dev. Git, if I just say git push. Yeah, git push, set upstream, origin dev. So now I have my dev branch out there that I can work on in the future. And I want to continue working on this, and I think this is going to be an interesting place for us to work. And I think it's in a place where this project is going to be a lot easier for folks to understand and jump into. I want to make sure that we have projects here on stream that you're interested in and that apply a little bit to what you might be doing. Managing schedules like this, I think, is a very interesting problem that a lot of people have, and we'll come up with a fun solution for this, and we can go into all kinds of neat directions. There was even a suggestion at one point for an IoT device that at the facility for Sebastian Riding Associates can put the schedule up on a mirror so that folks can see that, and maybe we get into a hardware stream over the summer. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining me today. This was a lot of fun. I'm going to take a quick look at who we can raid today. I know I saw a bunch of folks come online from the Live Coders team. I think we need to see who we want to raid today. Let's take a quick look-see. Who is out there? You know what? You know who we haven't raided in a little bit? I'm going to raid our friend... We're going to raid our friend InstaFluff today. It's not /InstaFluff, it's /raid. There we go. Our friend InstaFluff, of course, it's Friday. It's Mug Cake Friday over there on his channel. I want to make sure you tune in, you join him. There's all kinds of great stuff that he's working on. He's doing things to extend and make Twitch a better place for everybody. Thanks so much, everybody. Copy out, if you're a subscriber, copy out that first line of text from the bot. If you're not a subscriber, that's okay. Copy out the next line of text. These are our raid calls. We're going to get into InstaFluff's channel. We're going to say hello and announce our presence by pasting in that line of text from your clipboard and greeting all of his friends over there. Thanks so much for joining me, everybody. If I am streaming Sunday, it'll be from the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, Nevada. And maybe we'll have a couple hours together there before SharePoint Conference next week, where I'll be your host Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. We've got 16 hours of SharePoint interviews and personalities joining us. It's going to be a tremendous week. I hope to see you then. Say hi to InstaFluff for me. Take care, everybody.